This is the Talent, Sales, and Scale Show. Specifically said training new managers. And one of the core competencies of managers is not supervision, especially today, because with all of the sales enablement tools that we have out there, I'm talking technology-wise, through RevOps, you know what's going on. You don't need to micromanage them. You know how many conversations, connect rates, and everything else. It's the ability to coach is really the new superpower for sales management and sales leadership. That sales leadership to coach the sales managers and sales managers to coach their sales teams. So that's my bias. I'm kind of curious if that aligns with what you're seeing out there.
Yeah, very much so. I would add that it's not very new, right? To have the great coaches deliver great things. And so for anybody that's interested in this topic, I would point at Google did a study. Actually, they did it twice. It's called Project Oxygen. And they were very curious about this concept of, what are the character traits that makes for a great manager and a successful team? And so they dug into it. And there were 8 factors the first time, hard and soft skills together, of which the last one, or one of the lowest ones, was technical acumen, right? Having the ability to do the job. And again, very low on the list. Important, but this is technically one of the only things that we have historically promoted on in this profession, right? Oh, you've sold. Okay, great. So you manage, and like, there's 0 onboarding programs, like 0, to the point where it is embarrassing and shameful or funny, depending on the day.
The old adage is, oh, you just promoted your best salesperson into your sales manager. Okay, sorry to hear that you lost them both, right? Because you lost your greatest salesperson, and they're going to get fired as a sales manager because it's completely different skills.
Yeah, it's like, so I go deep into this one in that mental health article for Sales Hacker. And so Peter's principle is another thing that comes to mind. We promote people to the point where they're good at doing the job. Yeah. They just hang out. So that one strikes me. But no, and I think also it aligns actually with a lot about what we were talking about with Sell Without Selling Out, is that every buyer buys differently. Every seller, like how you choose to sell is your choice. Ultimately, it's your job on the line when you don't hit your number. And so you may as well. Anyway, that said, coaching people, coaching your team, it's not a one size fits all either. Right. And so this was a conversation I had on my show recently with the great Meg Mishak. And I was like, Meg, how do you help elite sellers identify or hone in on what skills to work on next, right? At that point where you've already figured it all out. And so we laugh about it almost always being discovery, but then she's like, it really is different with every single person. And so having enough understanding there, I think letting go of your experience, right? Again, those experiences that may have worked for you 10 years ago. And also one of my favorite questions to ask sales managers when, historically, when I was looking at, but frankly, sales enablement positions, is when was the last time you let a seller on your team run with a plan that you didn't initially agree with at the beginning? Like, tell me the story. And so there's that vulnerability and courage piece to it as well. And then I think I'll even add to this, there's also a skill set around learning how to coach a team of people. Yeah. Right. And so I think that I see the way that we use dashboards, right, really aggressively. And it really, it hurts the relationship that sellers have with their peers often, because you start to hoard secrets or tactics. I actually did a post about this, or commented on Amy Volas's post today. She was like, what's one of the worst pieces of advice you've ever gotten in your career? And this was one I was given as a seller, don't tell anybody this cool thing that you just figured out, just nonsense. But anyway, so those are big pieces of it. And like all things, Bryan, it starts with the hard conversations that you need to have with yourself. Yeah. And I think mental health is a massive, massive part of this as well, especially in this job. And so I'd like to see a beef up on the core competencies